Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and to some of you, good night. As always, I am George Onyibe. I will start by wishing Nigerians across the globe a happy Independence Day. It's true there is nothing to celebrate. But then, having been on this journey for 64 years, and we are still here, I think there is something to celebrate there. Without wasting much of our time, I want us to look at a topic I simply titled Nigeria at 64, the journey so far and how we got here. It would have been more appealing if I had come here to insult Nigeria. I call Nigeria a zoo. I call Nigeria a failed state. I call Nigeria all sorts of names. I demarket Nigerians. I project Nigeria as the worst country in heaven, in hell, and right here on earth. It would have made sense. But we've been doing this for almost 2 decades now. It has not changed anything. We've not been able to take a step further than we are. Rather, we are retrograding. We are going backward. And so when I say happy independent, you should be happy that you are alive. Because out of this same thing that has caused Nigerian problem, a lot of people have died before their time. And so Nigeria at 64 is worse than it was on that very fateful day, the 1st of October 1960, when we got our independence. It is not because we do not have the intellectual capacity. It's not as if we lack the natural human resources. It's not as if we do not have people who have the technical know-how to take us to the next stage, projecting Nigeria to be one of the nations that will be envied around the globe. Of course, we are part of them. But it is because we have failed to address 3 major issues. Number one among them, I call it psychologically or emotional problem. You will not understand. It is not corruption. Okay, hold on. Number one problem is psychological or emotional problem. Number 2 is spiritual problem. And then the number 3 is physical problem. Now, understand, these things, corruption would not be here, except we first suffered for psychological or emotional problem, except we have first suffered for spiritual problem, and then we have suffered for physical problem. I will explain in detail. There will be no tribalism, there will be no nepotism, there will be no political imbalance, there will be no need for agitation, there will be no need for Boko Haram, there will be no need for non-gunmen, there will be no need for bandits, there will be no need for IPONC terrorist group, there will be no need for Igbo unifiers, there will be no need for divide and rule, there will be no need for all this subsidy and all these things we are hearing about. You may not understand, but let's continue. Number one, we look at the physical problem. The physical problem we are facing as Nigerians that has kept Nigerian on her nails. There is hardship, believe me. Everybody going through pain. Everybody in Nigeria, even the richest, is feeling the impact. There's a very big rich man behind my uncompleted building where I live. He used to use Jeep. Now he's driving Okada just to reduce the cost of living. So it's everywhere. Everybody has cut their coat down. They're now coming down to the real size they belong. Now let's look at the physical problem. The physical problem is what you see happening every day. We initiate it. We created it. We are the one that is enforcing it. It's a physical problem. It is more of a nepotism than even tribalism. Tribalism is maybe me and my people. And then when you talk about nepotism, it looks as everything must come from your people. That is more desperate. Physical problem. I was going through the internet yesterday and I saw the Igbo who say they come from Israel, who are part of the problem why we are here today. They were begging for unity from Anyoma. Now, the physical problem there is that they pick somebody who I know is from maybe Abia, Anambra State or thereabout to be claiming that he comes from South. And he was saying that the most stupid people he have seen on earth is those of us from the South. Now, how can you say you are from the South? That there is no geographical location in the world that is referred to as South. And then the Igbo Biafra who came from Israel, they are applauding him. I need you to listen to this very problem, the physical problem. And now, let's look at it critically. Yes, in geography, there is nothing like South. I agree. But then if we come up and said there is something like South, something must have informed it. In geography, there is nothing like Midwest. But we were Midwest, which means we have been fooled as a people within a particular geographical location in Nigeria. We know we are the experiment ground. I'm trying to tell you the problem of Nigeria. And so a cross-section of Nigeria are funding these people to talk down on Anyoma people. And yet when you talk about them, they say Igbophobia. He even said it, that it is we, the Anyoma people, that promote Igbophobia more than anything. I am their destiny and I'm their doom. It's a problem because what they are doing is injecting hate. What they are doing is trying to disarm everybody. What they are doing is trying to get attention. What they are doing is trying to frustrate Nigeria. Now let's look at it. We are South. We remain South and we are proud of South. Irrespective of the conspiracy behind the creation of that geopolitical group known as South, we are South and we have accepted it. We are stupid, we are foolish, and that is how it's going to be. But how did it come about? I'm telling you the physical problem. It was during the era of Murtala Muhammad, who for some reason decided to give the power, political power, back to the Nigerian state. He made a lot of amendments. Because before Murtala Muhammad, Umunnaku Agunyorunsi, who was also then military president of Nigeria, has quashed the Nigeria that was handed over to us by the imperialists. He removed referendum, he created unity in Nigeria and everything that has compounded our problem today. And then Murtala Muhammad, in an effort to revise everything, introduced regional system of government. Having created Imo State and Anambra State, having created many states, liberated Nigeria and trying to empower Nigerians to one end and one end alone before he was murdered. And then in 1997 rather, the government of Sani Abacha revisited that geopolitical plan of Murtala Muhammad. And to be able to do this based on his academic level, he assigned a committee to look into it and told them, we want to divide Nigeria into geopolitical zones. As it were then, the Midwest, the Western region, the Eastern region, and the Northern region. Let us expound it. And so, this very committee were headed by Dr. Alex Ekwueme, an Igbo man. It was Dr. Alex Ekwueme who suggested in 1997 that we should be called South. The same Igbo people are sponsoring somebody who say he's from South, but I know he's not. It is the same set of people. And so if we are stupid and foolish, who gave us that name? It is in their character. It is like a group of ethnic nationality in Nigeria will come out and say, we are Ikwere people. Ikwere has never been their name. Ikwere is a name they used to mock them. A Nigerian used the name to mock a fellow Nigerian. Today they have accepted it. And they are proudly, is it Ikwerian or Ikweres? I think we don't know the history. And so those of you who are making physical effort to demarcate Nigeria, understand it is dead on arrival. Being South-South is not making Nigeria progress, or it's not making Nigeria move back. It is killing our spirit not to be able to contribute our own quota to the nation building. Because you felt what you cannot get, you will get it by all means, and then we will defend our life. We will strive by every means necessary to live by those principles and dignity our fathers has taught us. That is what we are here to do. And so when a fellow Nigerian keeps telling you, Nigeria is a zoo, we must divide Nigeria, South don't have sense, how could such a nation prosper? How could such a nation flourish? How could such a nation come together and speak with one voice, forming one impenetrable unit that will bring out any political power? They always have different agenda. That is one of the problems of Nigeria. Of course, that one of the physical problem is when you see somebody like Sunday Igboho, who comes up and say they want to do the one nation. When it's obvious, all of them are feeding on the misery of the foolish South-South. And then another will come up and said, no, they are infidels. Okay, we are back now. And so a group of Nigerians will come out and tell you a fellow Nigeria is an infidel. And now all these problems circle around three major, supposedly ethnic groups. Wazobia. And so our physical problem was the betrayal of the conspiracy on that very eve of our independence. They've not told us the truth. And so every day, Igbo man is in the truth. And so the battle physically we have been fighting has been with three elephants fighting each other. Igbos are in the market looking for minority to use. Igodomigodo is Biafra. Akatamikata is Biafra. Niger Delta is Biafra. Ijo is Biafra. Numerical strength to topple the powerhouse of Nigeria. And then the Yorubas will be on the other hand. Urobo is Yoruba, Benin is Yoruba, Ishekiri is Yoruba, Ijo is Yoruba. It is the same game. And then Hausa will tell you, Idoma is Yoruba, Hausa, Igala is Hausa, Nupe is Hausa, Gwari is Hausa. It is the same game. None of them is dragging the support of minority because they want to build Nigeria. It's just because they want to sit in the powerhouse, Aso Rock, and steal the hell out of all of us. But then, when the three major ethnic groups who are supposed to create sanity are the ones doing this, what hope could such a nation have? Physical problem. When you hold Tinubu responsible for the hardship we are going to, it is obvious a lot of his people will respond. Not because they agree he's doing the right thing, but because they will tell you that the Hausa have been stealing all this while and nobody said anything. And then, if the Igbo man decide to speak up, everybody will remind them that they created this one Nigeria. And so you see, that is the physical problem. And so when they tell you, oh, nothing to celebrate in independence, it's okay. It's going to continue like this until we go back to the drawing board and correct so many wrongs. Nigeria acknowledged 250 ethnic groups officially. But they also acknowledge that we are over 400 ethnic groups. And I tell you they lie. We are over 1,000 ethnic groups speaking over 500 languages. What is the criteria of being recognized as ethnic group in Nigeria? Is it for the truth that you are a particular ethnic group? Or because you are not growing numerically? Let's leave at that. The second problem we are having as a nation, while we look as we are struggling, is emotional or psychological problem. When we have issue to address, it is always projected by emotion. Peter Obi contested for election, and INEC said he didn't win. What we are supposed to do is to go back and then wait for another year. Study the loophole why he lose, and then make effort that next time he will win. And that is if he is credible. But till this morning, a lot of people are hell-bent, most especially those Igbo people from Nigeria, who say they are from Israel. They have done Biafra agitation, they have done obedient movement, now they are in Igbo unification. All of them are dead on arrival. We shall know what they will do after Igbo unification. But most of them are working internally to destabilize Nigeria. But Pekin will say, Mama no go sleep, himself no go sleep. And so every day, they will say, yes, it's good for Nigeria. Is it not P2B that to win? But when Goodluck congratulated Buhari as a minority before INEC call result, now good for Goodluck. When Obama asked Goodluck to leave office, Nigerians were happy. It's good for him because he's a minority, emotionally. But it looks like minority are more emotionally stable. Because you can see the issue of female failure. We are not crying about it. But the Igbo Biafra that come from Israel, for instance, pour emotion into everything. They are now circulating videos of lie and deceit. And I beg you in the name of God, Senator Ned Nwoku, you are an elderly man, a representative of the people. They are using you, but they will destroy you. I saw your audio, though they edited it. I didn't see the full scope. They were telling you that you were telling them that if Simon Ekpa is the one that is ordering sit at home in the southeast, that Nigerians should dialogue. The same way you're saying that, yes, they should dialogue. Others are saying they should dialogue with Nnamdi Kanu. Now, this game between the three major ethnic groups look as is convenient at the moment. Imagine when other ethnic group will start their own. That is why what we are praying against, because everybody is knowing the truth gradually. And one day all of us will be fighting all of us. And nobody is fighting anybody. And nobody will betray anybody. And nobody will save anybody. And nobody will protect anybody. And you will not know where to start to resolve the problem or where to end. Bob Marley said, not until that philosophy that project one race to be more superior over than the other, there will always be war. So instead of us to move ahead and address the challenges we are facing as a people, we are going to pour in emotion. The Chief of Defense Force, in one of his recent press communique, said Nigeria has three major problems. It talks about the Boko Haram, it talks about the bandits, and unbelievably, he mentioned IPONC. But many people are going to say, how can he say IPOB? Are they not fighting for freedom? Freedom of who? Who puts chain on you? Is it Nigeria that is demanding for sit at home? Is it Nigeria that demand for state of emergency in the southeast? Or one criminal low life marrying somebody at the age of his mother for the sake of document, not for the sake of love somewhere in Finland? Emotion. Emotion. Anybody that is ruled by emotion cannot pass a good judgment. And so when we come together and say, let's solve Nigerian problem, somebody is going to be emotional. Somebody has been eaten up psychologically. It doesn't matter their level of education. It doesn't matter the sect they belong. It doesn't matter how they project themselves. Many Nigerians have been destroyed by emotion. I'm not an emotional person, but I have feelings. But they are guided by principles. So how can a nation whose feeling, emotion have been ripped up psychologically, how can they progress? No. How can they progress? And then the third problem of Nigeria that must be looked into is the spiritual aspect. We are being chastised spiritually. But most of you will not know. The Bible actually says that we should not spill the blood of our people on our land. When you spill the innocent blood of your people in your land, that blood will defile your land, and the land will vomit you. Nigeria is vomiting us already. But most of you are not seeing it. Japa. Nigeria is vomiting many of us already. But you are not seeing it. Spiritual chastisement. You cannot say the truth. There is every tendency. Emotional Igbo people will kill Ijele wherever he's locked up. There are records of thousands of Igbo people who have been killed by IPOB unknown gunmen. There are histories of a lot of Hausa people who have been killed by bandit and Boko Haram. There are series of records by Yoruba people and other tribes who are killed by Fulani headsmen, among others. These people are innocent. The killing is still going on as you're talking today. Each time their blood touched the ground, Nigerians face spiritual chastisement, and somebody will say there is no God. And somebody will say, why has God not punished the imperialist? But it is not your time, it's not his time. Everybody will get their own share. You see this America you see today. You see this world power you see today. A day will come, they will bow for nations you never heard about their name. We cannot forget about the Medians and the Persians. We cannot easily forget about the Babylonians and the Nukes. We cannot be in a hurry to forget about the Greeks, the Romans. Where are they today? They are still here. But I'm sure they cannot dictate for anybody what to do. And so when you see America dictating today, whatever they will do, they will pay for it in due time. Because there is a power that sits in heaven and presides over the affair of man. They block you from knowing such power. And so you wallow in misery. And you live your life a miserable man. And you think nothing is happening. I'm a living testimony that there is a God that sits in heaven. When I mean heaven, it's to tell you somewhere above us. And he presides over the affair of man. Because somebody will now have to ask me which of the heaven. Don't worry. Today, when somebody will take palliative meant for the poor people and then consume it alone, steal our natural wealth, nation wealth, steal all of them, take it to themselves. When we have hospitals where you have fake drug, because somebody is importing fake drug. When you have a government who will never build schools, but their children's school in diaspora. When you have churches and other religious organizations where they are telling you, preparing you to go to heaven, you build schools for those churches. Your children cannot afford those churches. My brother, spiritual chastisement is real. There was one time a great nation known as the Soviet Union. It kept the walls on their heels. And the man in one of his brokers said, nobody can divide the Soviet Union. Not even God. I think there is no God. And where is Soviet Union today? And most of you are doing what you are doing. Ignorant of spiritual chastisement, which we are paying for already. And you think nothing will happen. Everybody has gone their own way. All have been corrupt in their own manner. And yet, we expect that on a day like this, we now begin to sing, O God of creation. Or maybe we sing, Arise, O compatriot. Or better still, we say, Nigeria, we hail thee. If you like, still change the national item. If we don't repent, may the Lord have mercy upon all of us. And now, like I said, Nigeria at 64, they journeying so far. And then the need for minorities, ethnic minorities, to stand up for the occasion. Having seen the challenges we are facing as a people, psychological, emotional problem, physical problem in form of nepotism or tribalism, and then the aspect of spiritual chastisement, those who create this problem cannot solve this problem. It is those who are not part of this problem that can solve this problem. That is why I call on the ethnic minorities of Nigeria. If you want to see a brighter future for yourself and your children, you must rise up to the occasion. If you don't want Nigeria to destroy everything that you are, you must rise up to the occasion. What do I mean? There are some ethnic groups in Nigeria that are actually doing that now. Let's look at Akwa Ibom people. Akwa Ibom people, the Bibio, the Efik, and the Anang. They look like they are the same, but not everything the same. Because among them, despite the fact that they are the same, one understands all of them. But all of them don't understand that one. The Ibibio, the Efik, the Anang, the Eka people. Now, let's say they are one people because they are one people. They've been able to be true to themselves. They'll be able to design a future for themselves. And I tell you, without being biased, there are a few states in Nigeria that are self-made. One of them on that list is Akwa Ibom. I can remind you of Ebonyi. They have similar traits. But let's focus on Akwa Ibom. Akwa Ibom have been able to come together to manage their people. Once they say they are Akwa Ibom, they are Akwa Ibom. Once they say they want to do anything, they will get there. Is it not Akwa Ibom man that is now the Senate President of Nigeria, even as a minority? Before, that post used to belong to Igbo people. Hausa have president, Yoruba have vice president, so Igbo have Senate president. The two major key positions in Nigeria. But because of these problems I have mentioned, it gave room for minority to come on the scene. But if Akpabio was not ready, if Akpabio or Akwa Ibom people were not ready, in most ethnic groups, what they would have done is to attack Akpabio, destroy Akpabio, and Akpabio will not be there. And go and look at the history of all the governors that have ruled Akwa Ibom since 1999. You will discover continuity. It is the fastest growing state in Nigeria. Look at the economic sector. Akwa Ibom mass transit is second to none to any state in Nigeria. There is no corner of Nigeria you will not go to that you will not see Aqua Transit, or how do they call it? They have their own aeroplane. They have their stadium built by themselves. But majority of these people are Ugwaja, laborers. So it's not the level of your exposure, education. It is the commitment. It is accepting the truth. It is the discipline. It is the vision and the desire to attain to your goal. I'm not from Akwa Ibom, but I see what they are doing, and I wish everybody will emulate them. They are not causing problem in Nigeria. They were part of the people who fought for Nigeria independence. That is why you have Akwa Ibom man inside your 1,000 naira note, but they are minority. So Akwa Ibom didn't start it today. It has been in their culture. Anyoma and Ikwiri must learn from them. You know, on a secular world, we project ourselves as if we are more superior than them. I tell you, the gap they have given to us, if we don't stand up to the occasion, even in 50 years' time, we will not be anything close to them. The amount of money the Ijaw people control, if Akwa Ibom control that money, many people will leave Port Harcourt and go to Akwa Ibom. Everybody in Nigeria, it's time to stand up for the occasion. And so, like I was saying, the Anyoma people, the Ikwere people, they feel they are more superior than the Akwa Ibom. But you lie. Because these people, and honestly, something needs to be done. Okay, we are back. And so, like I'm saying, what the Akwa Ibom people have been able to see, if Anyoma don't sit up, we will not get there. For instance, in Anyoma, you have the Usimili, you have the Ndokwa, they begin to attack your platform. But they are wasting their time. I have pleaded with them, do not wound the animal you cannot kill. And so, the Ikwere people must learn from the Akwa Ibom. Everyone have the privilege of deciding how the nation should be run. Until then, the same fight will continue. After Tinubu turn, you begin to hear, it's Igbo turn, it's Igbo turn. After Igbo turn, you begin to hear, it's Yoruba turn, it's Yoruba turn. After Yoruba turn, you begin to hear, it's Hausa turn, it's Hausa turn. That is the fight we have been involved 64 years till today. Anyoma people will have a nation to deliver. Don't let them deceive you. Not until we come to this level of maturity. It's sad. Nigeria may go into worst depression that you have seen. But the more hardship they introduce is going to boomerang. Because when you push something to the wall and there is no place for that thing to move forward, it will backfire. So, Anyoma people, Ikwiri people, Akwa Ibom people, Ijaw people, all of you South, to bring this broadcast to an end so that we can be able to keep our heads straight and design a future where our children can be the author of their destiny. We must understand. South, Mumu. No. It is Igbo Biafra from Israel are trying to discredit Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe. I remember during IPOB time, when I was arrested by the DSS. The only reason why you have not gotten your Biafra is that none of your leaders are speaking. Then Dr. Alex Ekwueme was still alive. And he told me, he said, you see somebody like Dr. Alex Ekwueme, if he stand up today and seek audience through his extensive knowledge, take south from west, take another south from east, and call us south. And we appreciate it. So Igbo unity beggar, while you are trying to demand, know this, accept this, and have peace. And of course, that is what I want to tell you. Ethnic minority, they say you are ethnic. No, you must look for a way to make sure the voice of your people are heard. Be able to debate about the challenges we are going through as a people. We are the only people that have the moral standing to condemn the majority if they are making mistake. But if we support any of them in a state like this, Nigeria is heading for a destruction, irredeemable. And that is why we are calling on Igbo Biafra, uniting everybody and causing problem to distract us from being able to speak up in defense of our people. Your mission is dead on arrival. Stop uniting Ndi Igbo. Begin to unite Nigeria.